In today's video I have, well, two of these NEC televisions, 34cm, not sure when exactly they're from, I think later 90s, maybe getting towards 2000. And it's a model N3480. I think these are made in, no, it's actually made in Korea. So some of these later ones were made in Thailand, I think. These are actually not a bad television. I'm not sure if they're still made by Daewoo, but basically NEC in Australia originally came out in the early 70s when we got colour TV. They may have had black and white before that. I think they did have some black and white models, portables at least. And in the colour era they came out as Rank Arena branded televisions. They had one of the, I think there's only 2 or 3 Delta Gun portable televisions sold in Australia. 14 inch with the old Delta Gun tube in it. Great big old thing, something like a C1401 or something. Made a lot of Rank Arena TVs up until around the mid, I think it was about 1986, when they started putting the NEC brand name on them. There was actually a Rank Arena TV, I remember, from about that year that came out as Rank Arena, and then later ones actually badged NEC. They were still in the wooden cabinets, but some of the last wooden cabinet TVs, that was like about a 20 inch or something, they were really super reliable, excellent television. Most of their sets were pretty good. The older Rank Arenas did play up a bit. And then unfortunately, not much later than that, they put out some really good portable TVs in the 80s under both the Rank and NEC brand names. And then they went to rebadging Daewoos, which were pretty rubbishy TVs. Probably the poorest quality of the lot as far as the Korean ones went. And certainly nowhere up there with even Samsung and LG, which were basically under other brands mostly back then. And then they sort of went to these ones, these silver cased ones, which actually got quite a bit better. Daewoo sort of got their stuff together eventually and actually started making some better quality TVs. I'm not even sure if these are Daewoos, but I think they might still have been Daewoo. I know the 4830 and 3430 was a terrible TV. And then they went to the 4840, and I bought like 100 of them or something, ex-TAB ones that had been in the TABs with all stuff burnt in the phosphor. And I got most of them going again with using second-hand tubes I had out of various sets because they're all pretty standard. And they were a good TV. I went over a few things like the wedges on the yolks would go bad and eat into the copper. So I replaced all those, removed those, when I was doing the tube swaps. And a couple of capacitors in the power supply was the main thing that had actually failed in them. And a few dry joints and bits and pieces, and I sold a heap of those and didn't get any back, I don't think. They all went fine. I gave for a 6-month warranty on them. And they were quite a good TV, and they were a little bit earlier than this era, so I'd be interested to have a look at these. Basically I bought the old Thorn VHF only TV. I did a video on it at some stage. Bought it off a lady on Gumtree, and she had this one, and some people have been messing around with it, so she just said, do you want it? I said, yeah, well, while I'm here I might as well take it. It's free, why not? I'll pass it on to someone eventually if I don't use it myself. And then just recently, when I got the old HMV record player off her, she said her, I forget, someone else in her family anyway, had another one, little NEC portable. She sent me a photo of, and I said, yeah, I'll take that one as well. And it turns out it's exactly the same model, so they must have, maybe they bought them together, or certainly bought them around the same time. Both of them have got their remotes with them. Get rid of that masking tape before it sticks all over the thing. So RD-D80. Supposedly these are in working condition. This was just going to go in the e-waste, so I said, yeah, give it to me. This was the last one she gave me, I think. And I finally dug out another one, so hopefully I'll get onto a few portable TVs now that I've actually got some out of storage, off the shelf where they're all been hidden under each other and other stuff. Get rid of that cable tie. I don't know if that's an original piece off the TV. It could be. Some of them came with a little thing to hold the cord. How do we get this one to work though? And it's coming apart eventually. Don't think anything on this tells you anything about when it was made. Maybe there's some info online somewhere. Still got the NEC details from Japan. PAL CCAM BG DK IH NTSC AV. So this actually does NTSC. I don't think I ever tried any of these on anything like that, but it should be quite a nice little TV. I guess we can turn it on and have a quick look. It should come up with blue screen mute on these, I think. Do we have AV on the back? I think there was a socket there. Yeah, AV on the back or front. They probably switch. Yeah, it's a blue screen muter. I thought it would be. Oh, we've got a clock as well. On auto. On screen display. I think we need to turn that volume down a bit. Oh, looks like we've got the old analog channels. SBS. Southern Cross. Win. ABC. We won't be seeing much on that anymore. Looks like it uses AA batteries. Where are we? Volume. Nothing. No. So the volume up. I don't think these remotes are particularly good. That one works. We've got a menu. What do we press? Side button. Oh, it's just a faulty button. Brightness. Can't go down very easily. Sharpness, contrast. So we've got all those. Timer. Yeah. Clock, time and O, wake up time, wake up program. And a bit of rage. So menu, we've got picture, we use the volume plus to go across. And I assume we press it again, yeah, to adjust it up and down. When the remote actually works. Timer. Press across, clock, so we've got to set the clock, I guess. Oh, you can set that there. Do we punch on the buttons? Yeah, we don't know because the remote isn't working. Oh, 2300. Oh, you go up and down by the look of it. Wake up time, wake up program, so we can set that. Language, English, French, Dutch, or German, I guess, and who knows what, Middle Eastern languages or something. Best not to change them, although hopefully they come back. Sometimes it changes all the menus and you can't work out which one was which. A channel call just brings up the information there, the clock and what channel you're on. Sleep timer, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, hour 20, etc. And nothing. Looks like we've got a picture. Oh, okay, this is, so it's got these favourite, normal, different picture modes. AV, can't we get that to work? We're back on that analog tuner. Don't know if that width is a little bit wide there. Oh, we've got teletext, have we? Does it work? No teletext. Oh, is that? I think it actually does have tele. That could be handy because I was going to try and recover some teletext off some old videotapes to see if it actually worked. I don't think any of these channels now have anything like that. The fact it comes up with that might mean that it doesn't have teletext. The fact that it's got page 100 probably means it does have it, but this channel doesn't, hopefully. I was forgetting a lot of these sets potentially have extra features like that. They became pretty standard. And that remote's completely dead by the look of it, so we've got a couple of remotes to repair. So it looks like we've got to get out of teletext mode before we can do the volume. Great design, that. Yeah, nice little picture tube in these. They always go a pretty good picture from memory. Oh, and I forgot to check whether the AV on the front overrides. That is pretty dodgy, but it should just override the other one, I think. It's only got one AV setting, so the sockets are just switched. One on the line output transformer. But I do remember fixing a few of these. I can't remember what for, but this sort of era television anyway, not necessarily this particular model. But portable TVs often, you know, they got physical damage and stuff. This would have been the kids' PlayStation television or something more than likely, and they got dropped and they got antenna sockets broken off and AV sockets messed up. They were some of the more common issues. I'm not sure if anything failed electronically in these, but I get a feeling it may have. And it does look rather Daewoo. What do we got on the tube here? Chungawa. So not a great quality tube. Actually made in Malaysia, so maybe a bit better. A lot of those were Chinese tubes that didn't last very well. Got an ODYM 1489 yoke. I wonder what the wedges are like in these. They look like the ones that go bad, though they're a lot newer than the ones that had failed in the past, but they may be worth getting rid of just for safety's sake. I've got a CP005 main PCB eyelet with some sort of serial number. Yeah, don't know for sure if it is a Daewoo. Quite hard to know for sure. Yeah, these sockets are just clipped into the board, so not real great. Looks like it's actually got a scart, so that could be interesting to look into, whether these are anything to do with RGB compatible. I wouldn't count on it being a Australian and probably Asian sort of model. But I'd like to see what chip this thing's got in it. Probably should unplug the speaker. Is that an obvious Daewoo speaker? Not really. And yeah, we've got to get the power cord out of this little clip, because that's holding it in. And degaussing needs to go. I think most of these you just worked on them face down. Caution, live mains. So obviously got a live part. This white line denotes that it's isolated, so it's not a live chassis as such, but all this is mains or DC rectified mains. So that's all the nasty stuff there. And of course there's still high voltage and stuff on the other side here, 103 volts, 200 volts. Well, they've labelled all the rails coming out of the power supply, so 133 or 123 is your B+. To run the horizontal, looks like it goes through the 133, quite a large diode. I'm guessing that ends up on the horizontal output. Soldering actually looks really good in this thing. I don't think they had dry joints in them, though getting older now, you never know. They've got some of the eyelets around the line output stage put through the circuit board holes, so that stops them getting dry joints. I mean, Daewoo were known in some of their earlier sets for catching fire because they got dry joints somewhere around the horizontal stage, and they had a plastic frame around them in the AWA branded ones. And I think it was a later model came out under NEC. It was around the time NEC started using them, but slightly earlier, I think it might have been like their, was it a C38 chassis or something? But I actually did see one that they had a recall to replace all the plastic frames that went around the circuit boards, because if they got dry joints in them and arced, they would actually set the plastic on fire. And I actually fixed one of my first little portable colour TVs using the tube out of the one that got burnt. It was an insurance write-off, and the tube was about the only thing worth getting out of it, and I fixed a little Akai one with a busted tube. So that came in useful, but the TV was pretty well destroyed other than that. Very well burnt chassis and back cabinet. I think most of the front cabinet was melted. It hadn't damaged the tube, surprisingly, so it didn't get too far. But yeah, we've got a surface mount IC here. I don't know if that's that probably is our RGB and everything. So at the surface mount stage, is that a relay there? Looks like it, yeah, it does have a relay. Don't know if that's for standby or just for degaussing. It looks like it's degaussing. So it looks like they've got, because a lot of these sets, early ones, remote control TVs, people just turn them on and off into standby, so the degausser never got fired up. You actually had to unplug them at the mains or turn off at the main switch. And so you get all these people ringing up, oh, my TV's got bad colours, and it was always the old, turn it off for 10 minutes at the power point, or the main switch on the front, but power point just to be sure, so there's no standby light. And switch it back on again and call me if it's still playing up, and you'd never hear back from them normally because that would fix it. So a surface mount microprocessor, surface mount colour chip. Be interested to see if there's any manuals for these online. Let's have a look at this. Oh, we've got a dry joint on that. So we do have dry joints on the AVs. It's probably part of why they're loose. That one's dry. You know, they're definitely dry, so not surprisingly the AVs. So that's the sort of thing I would have probably put a couple of big blobs of araldite or something, or even lifted the sockets right off and put a strip of araldite, glued it back on, and then resoldered the joints so that, you know, people aren't coming back again in a year or two because the kids have been plugging the PlayStation in and out or something. It does look like the circuit board tracks there, possibly for RGB and stuff. Obviously some components missing. Whatever went there, some diodes missing. Some resistors and caps and stuff. So I might look this up and see if it looks like it's almost RGB ready, though it only has one AV switch, so maybe they're putting the voltage in the SCART will actually force it across like on a Philips chip. Or maybe there's something in the service menu or something. If it has one, this set may well have one. And what have we got here? Some sort of thick film type thing. Is that straddling the primary and secondary of the power supply? It looks like it is. This I802, it goes across the white band there. That brings back some sort of memory. I think that's got like an opto coupler and stuff to feed back. We can see them. There's two opto couplers on there. I don't think I ever had one fail, but I do remember fault finding around that sort of thing. Now, is that our vertical output chip? Yeah, it's got a TDA 1771. Looks like vertical output. Don't ever remember that chip number, so I don't think I ever replaced one. Oh yeah, we've got Daewoo on our line output, FSA 37012. So that's probably proof. We've got Daewoo on the capacitors, the Daewoo symbol there, which is that little spread out fan type thing. Another one there, so yeah, she's a Daewoo by the look of it. But much better than their early ones. I think they got the power supplies and stuff pretty right in these. So let's touch up those. Just for now, I should have known by the shape of the socket through the back panel that it was a SCART replacement. A couple of RCAs moulded into a SCART shape and soldered into the appropriate pins there. Quite a clever way to do it for different markets. The front sockets look okay. So I'll go and have a look at some info on that chip, see if I can find anything out about the chip and this model of TV, whether there's a menu available. Okay, I couldn't find much besides the instruction book for this TV, which at least confirmed that it is teletext. But I looked up this CP005 chassis, and it is a Daewoo chassis. Electro Tanya has heaps of manuals on it, and I was just about to put the back on it, and I realised it has the model number 14V1, which is one of the Daewoo models. I think it's V1, V2, V3 and V5 or something, as well as 21-inch versions and stuff, and actually says Daewoo Electronics Mexico here. So this mould must have been made for that or something. Akana Garcia Samuel. Something Con Revolution Parique Industrial Rio Colorado, Sonora, Mexico. And it looks like they were a bit made around the year 2000. I was just going to have a look, see if I could find. That's why I looked in the back. And it looks like 01 to 04 maybe the years, but this one doesn't seem to have a dot in any of them. So they've got it there, but they haven't actually said. Now the only difference I noticed with this one is that STV2239D IC that this has, it's a 2238 in the Daewoo menu, but they're basically the same thing. Some small options change by the look of it. They also give you how to get into the service menu. So we'll see if we can do that. And it looks like they can actually do component as well as RGB. It's built into the chips. They've also got a composite video output. Looks like you just add a buffer transistor, and that was designed to come out of one of the pins of the SCART. Not that useful to most people, but the facility's there if you need it. So pin 30, 31 and 32 of the IC are the RGB inputs. Looks like they use some 5.6 volt Zener diodes to ground to just clamp any higher voltages that go in there. You've got your 75 ohm resistors to ground. As with most RGB inputs, pin 33 is your blanking input that you've got to put a voltage on to tell it it's RGB, not just composite input. And I'm not sure about whether you use that to change it to the component inputs, but it looks like it's made for component inputs as well. There is some other switch there which might do that. I think pin 16 is your blanking input, and then there's pin 8 does something else, feeds into the chip. Your fast blanking, I think they call it FB something line, and then there was one with something else B. But it looks like for a few diodes you've also got to put some resistors and capacitors or something near the chip. But it does say something on the data sheet of this STV chip that you may have to input something into some register in the chip. I couldn't see anything in the service menu, but possibly it needs more than that to get the chip to actually accept an RGB input. But hard to know without actually doing it. It may just need, I think the pin 33 also says it should be connected to ground if there's no fast blanking input. Then tie it to ground, so you may have to cut a track in this. But I might try modding one of these and see if we can get it into RGB input mode. And I may have to repair these remotes next to get it into the service mode. Because service mode, we go to program 91, set the sharpness to 0, then the red, green and menu buttons. Except we don't have a program. They must have blanked all the other programs out. Let's see if we can get in. Oh, we've got a menu on the front of the TV as well, so that could be handy. Picture. Let's go to install. Of course we didn't have install on AV before. Ah, pressed the wrong button, didn't I? Oh yeah, if you hold the TV video button down a bit longer, you get menu, install, it's probably easier on here, auto setup, edit. So we can skip the other. Oh, there's 99. Skip, yes. No, looks like we use the channel up down to change it. And menu to get back, I guess. Edit. I don't know if that'll make any difference. What channel numbers have we got? It just goes to 99 and back again, so it's still not where we want to be. Hold the menu down. Install, volume across, auto setup, manual tune. Now can we change the, shall I change the band, or is that doing it? It's just manually tuning through itself by the look of it. Only problem is it's not going to find anything, so I don't know if I can make that to program 91. Let's get out of that. Edit. Oh, maybe if we go to fine tune. Okay, edit. Let's try that first. program. Oh, we can change it here maybe. How do I change that up and down? Ah. 91. Oop. Change that to unskipped. Quite a lot of messing around. So. Going the wrong way, aren't I? 91. And then we do sharpness. Picture, yes. Sharpness to minimum. Done. I guess we get back out of menu and then we press, what is it? Red. I don't know if the red and green work, but we can try them. Red, green, menu. Oh yes, we're into service mode. So we've got our red, green and blue biases and drives. Vertical center size, H center, VCA, fine AGC, power last on, sub brightness, program NEC 91, output money, and that's all we've got by the look of it. So power probably means whatever you turn it on at the power point on the main switch, it'll do, whether it was in standby, it'll come back in standby, or if it was switched on, it'll come on. A lot of NECs had that function for some reason. I think because they sold them things like the TAB, like the ones I had, they wanted the option and they just turned the power onto the TVs on a circuit breaker or main switch and all the TVs would just come on. No need to turn each one on with a remote type of thing. What's this output? Output money. If we press volume, does it change? Oh, output RF. Interesting. Oh well. I think you just normally turn the power off and back on should get rid of service mode. I didn't see any way of saying that you've got to store it. But I didn't change anything anyway, so I don't need to store it. So that's interesting. So it looks like these possibly RGB and component moddable, which can make them quite a good little television. So that, like I said, about year 2000, it's a bit later than I expected, which means they're well into the sort of service menu and pretty much every feature built into every TV for every market in the world type of thing, or very close to that. Yeah, interesting, it's moulded up, so I don't know if the cabinet was made in Mexico or they're just using the mould in Korea that was made for Mexico, who knows. Let's have a look at the other one. But this is the other one, so exactly the same TV. We've got an antenna still attached. We've got more dust attached, probably because it's been sitting in my shed for at least a year, maybe a couple of years now. Same thing, made in Korea. I don't know that we need to even look in this one. I think for the moment I'll just see if it actually looks like it's functional. And that'll be enough for now because I'll probably have to pull it apart later to see if we can RGB mod the thing. Yeah, you can hear that relay clicking, so that's doing the degaussing rather than just having it hardwired.
Tight. French or American girls will be gagging at the chance to whip their clothes off.
So it looks like it's a runner.
You lot are hardly jeans.
Sockets seem alright. Oh, it's not going to do anything in AV mode, I guess, but what's this black thing all over the screen? That's a bit different. I wonder if we've got an issue there. Don't know what that is. A blue back. I think that's on, isn't it? Yes, no, so we turn the blue background off. Not sure if the other one had the same, but what are these black things here? Let's just turn it off again. Oh yeah, because it's on the clock. Seems to be alright, just got this normal little thing there. Now that one... Oh, it's that little black shading thing. Is that what we've got? Oh, we're missing the... That's all it is. We're missing the grey background. Is that what it is? I wonder if that's adjustable. Huh. Well, that would explain that. It's just the shape. This one's got grey. That's just got blue. Okay, let's get a picture. Blue background, yes, no, so it does come up with a shaded thing on that. Where's do we have a channel call? Ah, look at that, you press the channel call. Well, there you go, that's another feature you never would have known it had. It might tell you in the manual, but yeah, I prefer it with that grey background. And of course this one, I'm changing the other one at the same time. Okay, that makes more sense. So hopefully they both come back like that. Go away. Menu. Oh well, there you go. So they are adjustable. It's not a fault or anything weird, and that's the problem. Unless you know these things, it can look like something's faulty in there. This has also got the service menu blocked out. We've got to go to install, edit. How did I do it? We don't want that one skipped, but that ain't gonna do much anyway. Oh, we've got a bunch of characters here to put in our name. Now, well, last one I changed it to no, but I don't think that's how I... Or did we go to fine tune? I can't remember what I did. Oh no, this is just fine tuning, of course. Edit. Ah, seems to be when you put that 99 back, we can get in. Oh. Oh, got sound. Yeah, go away. BG we should be on anyway, I think. Yes. Oh. I'll get it right one day. Menu, so we should have. Now we've got to go to picture. Sharpness, set it to 0. Excellent. Go away. Red, green, thingo, yeah, and we get into service mode. Oh, that's simple enough. Turn it off should get rid of that. Oh, well, I was hoping that's all I'd have to do. I guess I could look at these remotes while I'm at it too. They're probably just dirty inside. There is a screw in it. So I thought these would be a nice quick just review of the TV, but it looks like we've got more work to do to see if these can be turned into something useful. Ooh. It's starting to come apart. Hopefully we don't have to mark them, but we may have to mark the remotes a bit to get them apart. Problem is, until you get one apart, you don't know how they're held together. These These ones are starting to come quite easily by the look of it. Looks like it's just a couple of pins up this end maybe. Oh yeah, that's it. You just pop the pins and then find out what's... These are just more pins. Here's just pins. That's quite a good design, I like that. I wish more of them did it like that. It's not badly dirty or anything. It's again made to be kind of cheapo remote contacts. If these things aren't made in the best quality, they'll just fail of their own accord, but often you had to recoat the buttons and some of them with like silver paint. Sometimes just to clean or fix it. It does look a little dirty in there, so it's probably got something in it. But sometimes these little black bits on the buttons actually just stop conducting properly. And other times just a quick clean will get them all going again. But yeah, it seems to be all the main buttons that are used a lot that aren't working. Let that dry out a bit. Guess I just double check no dry joints on the little resonator. At least I've glued that down. A lot of the early ones, they didn't glue them down, and after being dropped a few times, that would either break the pin off or dry joint. That was quite a common job to replace those things, mainly just because the pin broke off at the body and you couldn't fix it. Sometimes they did just fail, even without a broken pin. And I'll just use a remote tester. Looks like a clean will fix it because every button I've pressed puts out a signal. Let's turn the TV back on, but now every button on this is putting out a signal. Probably should have cleaned the rubber bit while it was out as well. It could definitely do with a clean. Yeah, channel up now works. Channel down, volume. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 8, 7, 0, TV video, picture, favorite, normal, channel call, mute, got teletext again, other buttons won't work I don't think, and we can turn it off. Beautiful, that's one fixed. The other one's probably going to be the same thing. So this one was completely dead I think, so maybe not. Ah, they're rather tight. Ooh, never like it when remotes make that noise. Still in place. It's worth checking your LED isn't damaged. This one's a lot dirtier, so yeah, we've had possibly a drink in this one. She's a bit sticky. Yeah, some sticky. Yeah, I can probably just about make that stick to my finger. It's that sticky. So this one's definitely had the old drink spilled on it trick. Usually all that brown stuff around the buttons is a good indicator. Some of that's just food or whatever probably, but you know, when you can see little dots of shiny stuff, that's going to need a good clean. So this might be more of a toothbrush kind of job, because it's good to completely clean anything off that board. I often just do the whole side of the board, maybe even the other side as well. Wipe it off with some paper towel or something to remove any residue. Oh, look at it. Some of that might just be flux or something off the board, but still. There's definitely some yellowy stuff on there. Often it's actual drink. And you just want to remove all of that if possible. I'll probably clean each contact individually with a cotton bud as well, but first we'll just get the worst. There's a bit of black stuff coming off, never a good sign because the metho will take a bit of those contacts off. So it's not the ideal thing, but if they've got a coating on them, you kind of want to get a little bit off there anyway, I think. And that is pretty filthy. Should have really done this with the other remote. It's always a good chance to get all the buttons clean and make them look like new again. Even though it's not much of a fun job. But these TVs obviously had plenty of use by the look of it. But yeah, get all that food or whatever it is out there, as well as the residual syrupy or coffee remains or whatever it is. So even free televisions often come at a bit of a cost, like faulty AV sockets, faulty remotes. You know, people used to try and sell me, you know, second-hand TVs that's going. It's like, well, you know, I put a warranty on them, and they always need something doing to them. They never seem to work 100%, or they need some maintenance done so that they keep working. It's not like you can just buy a second-hand TV and sell it again because it never happens that way. They, you know, some second-hand shops used to try, but of course they got plenty of them back for various intermittent faults or things failing or something didn't work properly. So there's no such thing as a free television, really, because there's usually something wrong with them. Even if it's just a small thing like this, it still takes up time. But good chance to give the whole thing a nice clean and try and get it back to more what it was like when it was new. And while I got that in there, I'll just get the other end of that cotton bud I used on the other one and just clean each one just with a little wipe. In case there's any other muck on there. And fingers crossed, not very easy to actually test. You can hook a power supply up. If you don't want to put it together, I'll be pretty confident this one will work. Okay, the remote tester says it's all working. Yeah. Mute, volume, channel up, channel down, menu, sleep. Channel call is that little thing, just the on-screen display. 1, 2, 3, 6, 5, 4, 7, 8, 9, 0. All those buttons are working. Picture, TV video, teletext. We can't check the other buttons, but they all showed up on the remote okay. On the remote tester, I should say. Always pays to have a separate remote tester, but often these you just clean them up and test them on the TV. So yeah, so that's the two remotes. They still need a bit of a clean from mess, bit of muck in the little arrow bits. They're just little dirt collectors. This one's actually still got the plastic label on it, which isn't going to come off easily. That probably wants peeling off. They've got a little protective label over the plastic label. That's a little insert thing. And that one looks like it's had quite a bit more use of it. It didn't work at all because the RD-D80 things rubbed off. But that's good, it's got those all running. Everything's basically working. Really, the AV sockets, like I say, on the back could do with gluing down. And I didn't actually go over that other one because I haven't even had the back off it. So that TV wants a quick check. I might even get rid of the wedges if I can find a couple of more modern ones. I don't know for sure they fail on these sets, but they definitely look like the dodgy Daewoo ones that were known for failing. Give these another 10 years and they might be turning to goo. And I guess the next step is I'll have a play around sometime and I'll get a bit more time. I might get a few more of these TVs sorted out, these little portable ones. And then we'll try doing an RGB mod on one of these. It won't take long just to solder some resistors in. Probably don't even need to put the Zener diodes in just for testing. And just see if we can actually get a signal into these chips, or whether there is some further thing. It's possible there's something in the software there or something which doesn't look like it's available in the service menu. Or maybe it's just, yeah, just needs that blanking signal. Hopefully they didn't do any further. Or maybe it needs some more work to try and work out. I don't know how you get into the register of that chroma chip, but it did say something about some register needs to have a certain value put in it if you're not using RGB, I think. So if they've put that in there, then we might be locked out. It may be in the EEPROM somewhere, or EEPROM. So it could be a bit of messing around. I think even Electro-Tenya does have the codes for the EEPROMs, but I don't have anything to program them, I don't think. I'm not sure how you do them now, but I think you could, once upon a time you could get something to plug into just a normal Windows computer to program them. But that's something else to look into, so that'll sort these out for the moment, so thanks for watching.